7-10, Chris. I'm predicting 7-10 as we go into week one. I want it on the record. I'm predicting 7-10. I want it on the record.
Okay. I think you're right, but just to do something different than you, something a little bit more positive.
Go on.
Because I don't want to go lower.
All right.
I'll say 8-9.
Okay, let's go. I hope Chris is right and I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Let's huddle up for Panthers Playbook. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea. Dennis Cox here with you. Let us know in the comments. Put it on record. What's the record for the Panthers this season? 7-10, 8-9. That's what I predicted and Chris predicted, respectively. Maybe you're thinking 9-8, 10-7. Let us know. And also let us know your thoughts on how the season starts this Sunday against the Jags in Jacksonville, Chris. And I'm intrigued to see this Sunday against Jacksonville what the play calling for Dave Canales is going to look like. Because obviously Adam Thielen got traded. Jalen Coker, the guy that was set to slide into his position, out with the injury. Those two guys have different skill set than Hunter Renfrow. Just their body types, what they can do. Their skill sets are just different. I'm intrigued to see how Dave Canales adjusts his play calling or just the game plan going into week one with no Thielen, no Coker, and then Hunter Renfrow in that slot role. And also, how many snaps can Renfrow play? Are we going to see more two tight end sets? Because you also have Tommy Tremble coming back into the mix as well. I really am curious to see what this offensive game plan is going to look like. Because again, let's not forget, you got a rookie in Tepper McMillan starting out there too.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot that needs to be proven. With this wide receiving core, with this team in general. I will be interested in seeing like how Canales uses the different parts. We don't know who all will be activated or, deactivated on Sunday. Of course, was 47 that you can have.
48.
Is it 48? I thought it was 47.
Yeah, it's 48. As long as you have 8 of them or offensive linemen, it can be 48. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can get up to 48.
I think that it'll be interesting with, of course, there's 7 wide receivers on the roster. So, outside of, the main guys, Xavier, Legette, Tepper McMillan, and also Hunter Renfrow, like who gets a chance to step up, who steps up. You mentioned it from the tight end room. Is Tommy Tremble going to have an impact? How does JT Sanders have an impact on this passing offense in this game? There's a lot to kind of look at and consider. And also, Bryce Young doesn't have a safety blanket in Adam Thielen. And that was one of my personal concerns with the trade of Adam Thielen. Didn't necessarily mind it, but also before this year, there was nobody proven outside of Adam Thielen. He led the team in receiving yards last year, and that was only 615. So, what's going to happen? So there's still, I think I'm coming into this first game with more questions than I wanted to come into the first game with, honestly. Knowing that they were going to try to take a step up, knowing that there were things to fix, but the way things have been going the last couple of weeks with, injuries, trades, the way the 53-man roster is constructed, things like that, I have more questions than what I really wanted to at this point.
And there's some guys offensively, obviously the Coker quad injury, keeping him out for at least the first 4 weeks, but Ike Ekwonu had that emergency appendectomy about a week and a half ago. So his status going into this game is unknown. It felt like, again, after Wednesday's practice, it felt like, he worked to the side, was in cleats, working off to the side, but he's really is up in the air.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on him. Just the way it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if he's there, awesome. But again, don't bank on it. But then also Damian Lewis is coming back from the shoulder injury he suffered in the joint practice with the Cleveland Browns. It seems like he's good to go. But then on Wednesday, we also saw Robert Hunt leave practice with the foot injury, but it also could be, hey, let's just be cautious with this guy because we know how valuable he is because he did try to come back into drills according to Dave Canales. So it seems like hopefully he's good to go. We'll have to just see what the injury report is on Thursday and Friday. So there are a little bit banged up in terms of the offensive line, which my question about that as well is that depending on how strong and how close these guys 100% are, Dave Canales always talked about being a physical run-the-first football team. How does that impact as well? That's a major question as well. I have no doubt that Chandler Zavala or some of these guys can slide in and things can be okay, but they might not be at the top level that we saw when the Panthers' run game was at their best last year if these guys really aren't 100%.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see kind of how all that plays out. And, I know that we didn't see everything that the Panthers have to offer on offense in the preseason. One, you keep it vanilla for the most part. Two, your starters played a combined 17, 18 snaps with one another in that preseason from 2 games essentially. So we don't know exactly. I would love to see Canales, if there are issues with the offensive line, use the jet sweep a little bit. Maybe that's David Moore, maybe that's Jimmy Horn, or whoever else, maybe Xavier Legette as well. If he feels like they can stretch those edges a little bit more to maybe open up some holes in the middle. But there has to be a steady diet of Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle for sure. And I think the number one thing here is, and I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, is, win or lose, the main goal offensively, I think, in this game has to be try to keep the ball as long as possible. Try to win that time of possession battle. Yeah. Because that's going to give you your best chance to win this game just in general. And because of the issues that we talked about on the offense, that means that there's going to be some pressure on the defense.
Oh, absolutely.
And the best way to alleviate that pressure on the defense is to keep them off the field as much as possible.
Exactly.
Honestly, keep them off the field as much as possible. So if you can win that, time of possession battle, maybe, 35 minutes to 25 minutes, something like that, that helps, the defense stay a little bit fresher and gives you, I think, your best chance to come away with a win from the road.
I always say this about when it comes to time of possession, that to me, time of possession is a true team stat. Because not only is it the offense holding on to the ball, converting third downs and all those things, but
it's the defense getting off the field.
Get off the field. Like if you have a chance to get off the field, get off the field. I mean, that's just as much time of possession as anything else. End the drive yourself. I mean, defensively, you want to go out there, you want to be out there for 3 plays. That's it.
Yeah.
Just be out there for 3 plays and that's it. And then the offense is right back out there on the field. So to me, I think defensively, I think that there is a little bit, obviously, the way they played last year as a whole, not good. There is pressure on that defense to elevate or at least try and get as close to matching the offense as possible. This offense for the Panthers might be somewhere in the middle of the pack, 14, 15, 16, depending on what metric you want to use. But they should be somewhere in that range, at least early on this season. You hope, at least.
Yeah.
The defense can just get to like that average, 21, 22. This Panthers team is going to be in a lot more games than not. I mean, granted, they were in some games last year, but the defense couldn't sustain. I'm excited to see what Derrick Brown healthy is going to look like next to A'Shawn Robertson and Turk Wharton and Bobby Brown and Cam Jackson, those 5 guys in a rotation up front. I want to see those guys wreak some havoc.
Yes.
Because we haven't seen that in a long time from this defense, where that interior of the defense, not just the linebackers, but the guys up front. Let's not forget when Luke Kuechly was running around sideline to sideline, he had Star Lotulelei and KK Short in front.
Yeah.
Causing havoc up front and let Luke Kuechly eat and Thomas Davis eat. That's what those guys need to be up front for this Panthers defense.
And it'll be great if they're so good up front that it causes a sack or 2.
Yes.
In this game, because that's also one of those spots of weakness for the Carolina Panthers that we've been talking about for the last couple of years. They're not getting to the quarterback at the rate that you would like them to. Another part of that is that teams can just run at the second half because they have these sizable leads and they just need to protect lead. So you can't, there's no opportunities to get to the quarterback. And then also if you're playing the worst run defense in the league, why not run the ball, right?
Yeah.
Because you're more than likely going to move forward.
I expect Jacksonville to do that, by the way, as well. Like test them.
Yeah,
Test them
absolutely.
right away. Absolutely
and
from Jacksonville.
It'll be interesting to see what Pat Jones looks like along with DJ Wanham. It'll be interesting to see what Nick Scorton looks like along with Princely Uman Mielen. So those are the things that I'll be looking for as well. What changes are being made to this defense? But then, I think a lot of this is ultimately going to come down to coaching. Because every week you're going to have something not go right, whether you're dealing with an injury, whether, somebody is going to be limited because of something or whatever it is. Ultimately, this is going to come down to coaching. And I'm looking directly at Dave Canales, because here's the advantage that he's going to have in this game that he's never had in his head coaching career. He's going to be the experienced head coach in the matchup.
Yeah,
because Liam Cohen, this is his debut game as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. Duval. I know that if he's in this position, he's not a bad coach, right? But he's never been a head coach before.
No,
so Dave, what are the things that you learned last year that that you can take advantage of that maybe others took advantage of with you?
Great point.
Last year.
Real good point.
Is that, clock management? Is that play calling? What is it that, you probably didn't have as good of a grasp on that you can use to your advantage from the sideline to squeeze out a win on the road? And so that's also with everything that we're talking about. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Bryce. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Xavier Legette. It's going to be a lot of pressure on the defense. But ultimately, this all boils down to Dave Canales. How ready are you going to have this team in Duval?
What a cornball, man! Like, what a cornball! All right, but it also with Cohen. Let's also keep this in mind as well. He was the offensive coordinator for Tampa last year. So he has the experience of going against Evero's defense, which I guess for him, there's maybe a little bit of comfort in that in terms of understanding the scheme. Now, the personnel, obviously, there's been a lot of overturn, so it's vastly different. But also, he has Brian Thomas Jr. now. He doesn't have Mike Evans, but he's got Brian Thomas Jr. He doesn't have Chris Godwin, but he has Travis Hunter. He has De'Ami Brown now. So a different group of personnel that he's also dealing with as well. And this is something I'm talking about, pressure on the defense. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., fantastic wide receiver. No matter what side of the field he's on, Mike Jackson, J.C. Horn, you're going to have your work cut out. But don't forget on the other side, you got Travis Hunter. Now, Travis Hunter, you never know. They might line him up in the slot because they might use De'Ami Brown on the outside as well. We'll see how they use and deploy Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball. But, I mean, Shaw Smith-Wade, if Travis Hunter's in the slot and it's man-to-man coverage, that's your guy. That's a tough, it's a tall task to go guard the number 2 pick in the draft. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Travis Hunter is an elite as a receiver coming out of this draft as anybody was. Yeah. And he was as elite of a defensive back as coming out of this draft as anybody was. I'm curious to see how Liam Cohen decides to deploy him on both sides of the ball. But the secondary is going to have their work cut out from as well. But Chris, like you said, if the defensive front can get some pressure on Trevor Lawrence, he ain't lit it up since he's been the first pick in the draft.
That's real.
He ain't lit it up. Let's be honest. Like, he'll throw picks. I mean, he had in 10 starts last year, he had 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Like, get your hands on the ball if you're Carolina. Flip the field in that kind of way. Like, set things up for your offense. That's what I want to see. The defense, like, let's see the improvement.
There's also a microscope. You brought it up just briefly here on Ejiro Evero. One of our big complaints last year was J.C. Horn not traveling with the best receiver. If you're the Carolina Panthers, and hey, if they figured it out, they figured it out, doing it their way or whatever. But if you're the Carolina Panthers and you just paid this man $100 million, He's clearly one of the best, cornerbacks in the league to you because you dedicated that much money to him for the 5 years after the season.
Mm-hmm.
Why not let him travel the field with Brian Thomas?
Yeah.
Because if they know that you're going to keep, let's say, JC on the left side of the defense, we'll put Brian Thomas on the other side and make Mike Jackson do all the hard work the entire time, and we'll see, and you made a good point. Maybe it's Diami versus JC, and then we can put Travis on the inside versus Shaw Smith-Wade. So now there's a lot of pressure on Shaw Smith-Wade and Mike Jackson to make sure that those guys are not catching balls. And so I think if you're the Carolina Panthers, hopefully this has been worked out. JC needs to travel, man. It's very, just have those guys flip sides of the field, have them travel. But we'll see what they end up scheming up. But that's something that I would want to for sure watch. And hopefully an adjustment that's been made. And it feels like, according to what they've been saying in the offseason, that they've made some scheme adjustments. So what will those be, and what will those look like on Sunday? That's something I'm going to be looking for as well.
Let's not forget, again, Cohen coached Tampa last year. At least it was the offensive coordinator. There were definitely times where we saw Mike Evans, their number one receiver, big body guy, lining up in the slot in order to get a better matchup. And there are times where we've seen even CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys lining up in the slot because they were getting favorable matchups on safeties. Yep. And they cooked at times. Yep. Don't be surprised if you see Brian Thomas Jr. lining up in the slot.
Yep.
Don't be surprised to see that in order to generate a favorable matchup, whether it's against the safety, whether it's against Shaw Smith-Wade, whatever it might be. Don't be surprised to see that on Sunday as well. That's something that we saw Liam Cohen do against the Panthers last year. I would not be surprised to see that at all. Would not be surprised to see that. And I mean, but you mentioned something, Chris, about this is Liam Cohen's first time being a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's different when you're a coordinator. There's a lot more things you have to take into consideration. Clock management, timeouts, all those things. You got to manage a whole team. Sometimes as a head coach, I used to coach college lacrosse. I remember my first game as a head coach early on in my coaching career. I overthought stuff a lot. I really did overthink things. I wonder if we might see that from Cohen. I don't know. We'll find out on Sunday.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you're going from managing one phase of the team to literally three. You have to oversee offense, defense, and special teams at this point. So how does he handle that? And, Dave Canales isn't the most experienced head coach out there, but you have a full year in the NFL. You've seen it. You have enough tape and an offseason to not only study the opponent, but also, take a deep look inward and see what you did wrong and how you would want to reapproach some things. And I think we've seen some adjustments so far. I still would want the offense to play a little bit more in the preseason. Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, some of the greats who you wouldn't think they wouldn't necessarily have to play much in the preseason, played a lot more in the preseason than what Bryce did, a lot more. I think Patrick Mahomes had more snaps in one preseason game than Bryce had the entire preseason. So I would want to see, how he's kind of learned from those mistakes, moving forward. But ultimately, I'm just ready to see some football and something that counts, and ultimately see how they build on the momentum from last year. Especially with this offense, you have most of those same guys returning, and they know the how great it felt to win a lot of those games at the end of the year. They know what it takes to win those games like they did at the end of the year. 2 overtime wins towards the end of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they know how to pull it out when things are tight. They know how to pull out a win when things are tight at the very end of the game. How do they adjust to that and make that better this season? So I'm just excited, bro.
Me too.
I'm excited.
Me as well. That's why we're going to have another episode for you guys after the game on Sunday. So if you have not subscribed already, make sure you do. And hit the little notification bell. Hit the little notification bell as well. That way, when the episode drops, you're right there. Again, leave your comments down below. What is your prediction for the Panthers' record this season?
Oh, man.
We're out.